Sounds great. Stand by. Okay, here we go.
Kenmore City Council is now in session. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember O'Kane,
Here. Here. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Barely.
Okay, stand by. Let's fix that first. Mayor, give me 30 seconds, please. Okay, how does it sound?
Sounds great.
Okay, very good. Let's start from the beginning. Councilmember O'Kane.
Here.
Councilmember Kugler.
Here.
Councilmember Srebnik.
Here.
Councilmember Herbig.
Here.
Councilmember File.
Here.
Councilmember Marshall.
Present.
Councilmember Baker.
Here,
All here.
if you will please join me in the flag salute. And we have a flag behind the judge, and our city manager is holding a flag. So we have plenty of opportunities. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. If there are no objections, the agenda will stand approved as written. Next item on the agenda is the administration of the oath of office. Your Honor, if you please.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Baker. Thank you for the honor and privilege of participating in the ceremony. I should say I am a former Kenmore resident. My family and I just skipped across the border to Bothell a few years back. We still shop at the Safeway on 68th there on Bothell Way and a lot of other places in Kenmore. So let me be the first to express my deep gratitude for your commitment to public service and especially to the people of Kenmore, who I know and love. And so without further ado, Mr. Marshall, if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joe Marshall.
I, Joseph Marshall.
Let me ask a question real first. Do you all have the oath in front of you, or are you going to be repeating after me, like clause by clause?
I'm going to repeat clause by clause.
All right, good to know. All right, we'll start over. I, Joseph Marshall.
I, Joseph Marshall.
Having been duly appointed to the office of council position number 2.
Having been duly appointed to the council position number 2, the office of council position number 2.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
That I will faithfully and impartially discharge.
That I will faithfully and impartially discharge.
The duties of this office as prescribed by law.
The duties of this office as prescribed by law.
And to the best of my ability.
And to the best of my ability.
And that I will support and maintain the Constitution of the state of Washington.
And that I will support and maintain the Constitution of the state of Washington.
And of the United States of America.
And of the United States of America.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Kugler. I, Angela Kugler,
I, Angela Kugler,
having been duly appointed to the office of council position number 3,
having been duly appointed to council position number 3,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of this office as prescribed by law
the duties of this office as prescribed by law
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
and that I will support and maintain the Constitution of the state of Washington
and I will support and maintain the Constitution of the state of Washington
and of the United States of America.
and of the United States of America.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Herbig? Let me move my thing out of the way here. I, Nigel Herbig,
I, Nigel Herbig,
having been duly appointed to the office of council position number 4,
having been duly appointed to the office of council position number 4,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this office
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this office
as prescribed by law and to the best of my ability,
as prescribed by law and to the best of my ability,
and that I will support and maintain the Constitution of the state of Washington
and that I will support and maintain the Constitution of the state of Washington
and of the United States of America.
and of the United States of America.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Srebnik? Good evening. I, Debra Srebnik,
I, Debra Srebnik,
having been duly appointed to the office of council position number 6,
having been duly appointed to the office of council position number 6,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this office
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this office
as prescribed by law and to the best of my ability,
as prescribed by law and to the best of my ability,
and that I will support and maintain the Constitution of the state of Washington
and that I will support and maintain the Constitution of the state of Washington
and of the United States of America.
and of the United States of America.
Thank you all so much. I believe I've covered everyone. Is that correct? Everyone who needs to be sworn in has been sworn in?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
All right, Mr. Baker. Well, thank you. I wish you all a very good evening and a very productive meeting. And again, you have my gratitude for your public service.
Thank you, Honor.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats, everybody. Congrats, everybody.
Congratulations, everyone. Before we move to the next item, we have rules and procedures that need to be read and understood. The presiding officer will call for nominations for the position of mayor, giving every council member an opportunity to nominate one person, including him or herself. Once nominations are made, the presiding officer will close the nominations and allow time for discussion. Each council member, including nominees, will be allowed to speak once to make their case for a particular nominee. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per council member. After each council member has had a chance to speak, the presiding officer will close the discussion and begin the voting process. If there is a singular nomination, the vote will be taken by unanimous consent. If there are multiple nominations, the vote will be taken by a show of hands. Each member of the council will vote for the preferred nominee and keep their hand raised until the clerk has registered the vote. Votes will be taken in the order of nomination received. The voting rounds will continue until a majority of 4 votes has tallied in favor of a nominee. A nominee may withdraw a nomination before a new round of voting begins. Newly elected mayor will immediately assume the role of chair and presiding officers. And with that, I would like to open the nominations for mayor, and I would like to nominate Councilmember Nigel Herbig as mayor for the city of Kenmore.
Do we need a second on that?
It wouldn't hurt.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Then I would call for election by unanimous consent. Is there an objection? Congratulations, Mayor Herbig. You are going to be a fine mayor, and I'm really looking forward to serving with you.
Sorry.
It's all yours, sir.
Thank you so much. I really can't express how honored it is to have that trust from all of you. And I also want to recognize that Mayor Baker has served this community for 14 years as our mayor. And in that time, frankly, the words Mayor Baker are synonymous with Kenmore at this point. He's a force of nature, and he's done more for the city than a lot of folks, I think, recognize. These are some huge shoes that I'm being asked to fill, and I believe I'm prepared. I've served as your deputy mayor for the last 4 years. I've gotten us through some very tough budget discussions. I look forward to guiding us to future discussions and guiding us forward. I think the Kenmore City Council has changed drastically since I joined 8 years ago. I think it was time for a change, and I appreciate all of your support and the trust you put in me, and I hope I will do everything I can to not let you down. So thank you very much. I am now going to open up nominations for deputy mayor. We're going to use the same procedures that we used for mayor. So again, I'll call on nominations. Council members can nominate one person, including him or herself. Once nominations are made, I will close nominations and allow time for discussion. Each council member, including nominees, will be allowed to speak once to make their case for a particular nominee. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per council member. After each council member has had a chance to speak, the presiding officer will close the session and begin the voting process. If there's one nomination, the vote will be taken by unanimous consent. If there are multiple nominations, the vote will be taken by a show of hands. Each member of the council will vote for their preferred candidate and keep hand raised until the clerk is registered to vote. Votes will be taken in the order of nominations received. The voting rounds will continue until a majority of 4 votes have been tallied in favor of a nominee. A nominee may withdraw a nomination before a new round of voting begins. And the council member who receives the most votes will immediately, the council member who receives 4 votes will immediately assume the role of deputy mayor. So with that said, I would call nominations for deputy mayor. Councilmember Srebnik.
Yeah, I would like to, oh, sorry, I need to take my hand down there. Sorry. I would like to nominate Councilmember O'Kane. And it looks like we don't make a statement until
Not yet.
it's
No,
closed,
we're just
right? Yeah. Okay.
We're just taking nominations right
Yep.
now.
Thanks.
Councilmember File.
Thank you. At this time, I am very honored to nominate Councilmember Angela Kugler.
Okay, we have nominations for Councilmember O'Kane and Councilmember Kugler. Do we have any further nominations? Any further nominations? Okay, seeing no further nominations, I'm going to close nominations. And I will give anybody who wishes to speak to their candidate of choice the opportunity to speak. So does anybody wish to make any comments? Councilmember File.
Yes, thank you. I am so very honored to nominate Councilmember Angela Kugler, an expert facilitator, someone who gives back to our community every week with social justice organizations and leadership. She volunteers within our community. She always shows up. That is something about her that's amazing. She did recently receive her Association of Washington Cities Advanced Certificate of Municipal Leadership with real dedication towards serving Kenmore and understanding policy governance in our community so that the color of life of policy is at its best. She would be an expert facilitator for our meetings. She would serve us excellently, and it'd be great to stand behind our position of serving people and diversity and equity on our council. Thank you.
Councilmember Srebnik.
Yes, I just want to speak on behalf of Councilmember O'Kane. She has been on the council now moving into her third year and didn't waste any time when she started on the council and getting involved in both our local issues, particularly with regard to environmental and waterfront issues, as well as those issues participating regionally right from the beginning. She's been a force. She's recognized around the region in King County as a leader. And she is balanced and tempered and has provided invaluable contributions to our council, and I fully support her.
Do either of the candidates wish to speak? Councilmember O'Kane.
First, I want to thank Councilmember Srebnik for the nomination and her kind words. And I also want to share that I think Angela is an outstanding candidate, and I'm happy regardless of who assumes the role of deputy mayor. That would be a genuine honor. I've very much taken, how do I say this? Being a part of setting the vision for the city of Kenmore is one of the things that I have taken most pride in my life. And these past 2 years, seeing the direction that we have moved is amazing. And being a part of this council in any form is an honor to me. But as deputy mayor, I would like to continue in that direction in serving our community. And thank you.
Councilmember Kugler, do you wish to speak?
Yes, thank you. I didn't prepare anything for tonight's this process. I mean, I share the same things, share the same feelings as Councilmember O'Kane. I think any one of us would be excellent in this role, and it is a real honor to serve in any leadership capacity for a group of such incredible professionals. So, you know, I leave it to the council to decide who they think might serve best and lead our meetings, and, you know, take control of these of our meetings and serve the group over themselves. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to speak? Councilmember Marshall.
Thank you. I wanted to thank the candidates. It is a close decision. They both obviously have outstanding qualities. I think one thing that's important to me is a further length of time under this crucible, this particular crucible, including its parliamentary procedures, its participation, and working out our governance with our public and for our constituents. And so that adds just a bit of seniority to Councilmember O'Kane, whom I would support. Absolutely honor Councilmember Kugler. And of course, we expect great things from everyone on this council in the future. But I think that's how I feel. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to say anything? Okay, well, let's go to the vote. As the rules state, we're going to go in the order that the nominations were received. So I'm first going to ask folks to raise their hand for Councilmember O'Kane to serve as our deputy mayor. And please keep your hands up until the clerk has acknowledged your vote.
I see Councilmember Marshall. I see Councilmember O'Kane. I see Councilmember Baker's hand. I see Councilmember Srebnik's hand. And I see Mayor Herbig's hand. This does bring us to a total of 5 votes in favor of this nominee.
Congratulations, Deputy Mayor O'Kane.
Thank you. It's a real honor. means so much to me. I don't have very many words right now, but thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve our community in this manner.
And before we move on to the next, to our presentations, I would like to give Councilmember Baker a moment to say a few words.
You know, during my 14 years tenure as mayor, I've had the privilege of working with 3 different city managers and was responsible for the recruiting of 2 of them. And each one of them had a lot of wisdom to impart and helped me throughout the years. I've had the privilege of attending the White House on 3 different occasions, meeting the president on 2 occasions and the First Lady on a number of occasions. I have had the honor of being recognized by the First Lady in the White House for Kenmore's participation in the Let's Move campaign. We were one of 5 cities to reach the highest level in the Let's Move campaign. And a lot of that was due to former council member Stacy Danuski. And Stacy and I together even taught a class to childcare providers as part of that program. And because of my leadership role, I've been on the National League of Cities Board of Directors for 2 terms and contributed to serve and continue to serve on its advisory council. I have also served as chair of the National League of Cities Leadership Council and continue to serve on the Harbor View Hospital Board of Trustees, as well as the Evergreen Health Community Advisors Council and the Seattle King County Board of Health. I've had the distinct honor of serving on the Sound Transit Board of Directors and also as the Sound Cities president. And I have been on many other regional, local, and national committees. And friendships are really important for everyone. And in part, due to the friendship and relationships that I have formed over the last 18 years, I've had a small part in helping the city to raise over $100 million in grant monies. And my greatest satisfaction has been work with our great staff. Our staff really cares about our city and its residents, and they are really the best. And I've had dedicated many hours and will continue to be available to the residents of Kenmore in working to make all voices heard. And the future holds many unknowns, but my priority is to remain to represent the citizens of Kenmore. Thank you very much for the time, Nigel. Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. All right, moving on to, I'm sorry, is there something out of order, Councilmember File?
I would like to have the opportunity to speak to why I did not vote for Councilmember O'Kane.
That's not in order at this point. If you want to speak about that during council comment, you are free to do so at that point.
All right, thank you very much.
I'm going to move us on next to our presentations. So our first presentation is recognizing the service of outgoing planning commissioners. We have 3 planning commissioners that are leaving their terms at the Planning Commission. We want to recognize them. We have Mark Orenshaw, who has served for 9 years, including time as chair. We have Suzanne Greathouse, who served for 3 years, and Dennis Olson, who served for 6. And, you know, tonight as we say goodbye and thank you, I want to really thank all of you for the work that you've done. I don't think a lot of people recognize the work that goes into, that gets done by our Planning Commission. The council really appreciates the untold hours that each of you has given serving on the commission and for your dedication of years in voluntary service. The commission has worked on many important policy areas over the last few years. They've listened to community. They provided just really thorough analysis and thoughtful recommendations for council consideration. The commission's work is vitally important to shaping the community vision for the future of Kenmore. They help vet and work on important docket items like updating the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan, the immense work that went into the Affordable Housing Plan, including the really above and beyond work that went into writing our manufactured housing zoning policy. They helped update our accessory dwelling unit guidelines and our transit-oriented development district regulations, and so many other things that I couldn't list right now if I wanted to. The work of the Planning Commission is often overlooked, but the work they do is just so vitally important. I honestly don't know if the City Council would be able to function without the work that the Planning Commission does. So I want to thank Mark, Suzanne, and Dennis for their tireless service to our community, and just give the deepest, most sincere thank you that I can for all the work you've put in. Debbie, was Ms. Bent going to say a few words, or are we just going to turn it over?
I think it might be worth inviting her towards the podium if you could just give us a second here.
Sure.
We have so many guests this evening, which is wonderful. Okay, I think Debbie's on her way.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, congratulations. I would just like to also thank the Planning Commissioners for their service on the Planning Commission. As staff to the Planning Commission, it's been a pleasure working with them. They make my job as staff very easy. They did their homework, read the packets, asked us great questions, and helped us craft some great policy recommendations for Council to consider. So I would just like to add my thanks to the Commission members. Thank you.
And I see that we have Suzanne and Mark here. Suzanne, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, Nigel, and congratulations. I'd like to thank the Council for giving me the opportunity to serve on the Commission. It was an honor to represent the residents of Kenmore. I learned a lot that I'm able to apply in my new role as North Shore Utility District Commissioner, and I encourage others in the community to consider serving on the Planning Commission.
Mark, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I'll just say a few things. First of all, congratulations to Mayor Herbig and to Deputy Mayor O'Kane, and thank you, Councilmember Baker. I guess that has kind of an odd ring to all of you, doesn't it, for all the very impressive accomplishments during your tenure. So I'd like to echo a little bit of what Suzanne said. It's certainly been an honor and a privilege for me to be on the commission these past 9 years, and certainly want to thank the council members over the years for the opportunity to do that. And as with Suzanne, I've really appreciated working with you and your predecessors and my colleagues on the commission, and the really tremendous city staff and folks in the community. So many really smart, talented, and dedicated people that have been working to help plan Kenmore's future. So as Nigel kind of alluded to, we've addressed, I think, a lot of really fascinating and challenging issues since I've been on the commission. Zoning and land uses along 522, critical areas, parks and recreation, mobile home communities, ADUs, and now missing middle housing and a lot more. And I'm just grateful to have had a chance to participate in those. It's been very rewarding personally, and I hope that collectively we've contributed in some small way to help Kenmore thrive in the future. So thanks, and best of luck to all of you and to the commission and to city staff, and hope to see you all around and perhaps even one day in person. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next presentation is a Fire Commission update. I believe we have Chair Pratt and Vice Chair Admin.
Hello there, and I'm actually here along with the chair of our Fire Commission, Josh Pratt. So I'm going to let Commissioner Pratt kick things off, and then I'll chime in.
Can you hear me all okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I just first want to say congrats to Mayor Herbig and Deputy Mayor O'Kane. Congratulations. And thank you for the opportunity to be here and present to you. What we'd like to do with our time this evening is one, just kind of give you a brief overview of where we're at, what our timeline is for the North Shore Fire District and the upcoming contract for services that we will be entering into. So starting ideally in March of 2022, the North Shore Fire District is going to contract fire, EMS, prevention, and education services out to another larger organization. It will be either East Side Fire and Rescue or the Shoreline Fire Department. Both of these agencies have strengths and weaknesses, but offer the citizens of Kenmore and Lake Forest Park equal or better levels of service at a reduced cost due to efficiencies, and provide improved opportunities for our firefighters. This contract for service will be an improvement in local government, and either of them will save in the range of $2 million for local taxpayers. What I'd like to do tonight is give an update on our activities since the last presentation we made to this body in September of 2021. Since September, the board has continued to seek both public and stakeholder input through a public survey, inviting members of Kenmore and Lake Forest Park City Councils to be advisory board members, and opening consistent dialogue with the Firefighters Union by having a standing agenda item open to them at all regular meetings. In addition, we commissioned a independent financial comparison of both proposals by Tom Brochi. What we heard from the citizens, from the councils, from the firefighters is that they wanted the process to slow down, and the decision on which contract to go with to be made by the new board seated in 2022. In response, we adjusted our timeline in August of 21, pushing the decision out to this February. This has allowed us, the new board, this allows the new board members an opportunity to get up to speed, make an informed decision, and still give us an opportunity to negotiate the details of the contract and impacts to the firefighters before implementing the contract prior to Q2. If you're interested in reading the contracts in detail or seeing any of the other documents associated with the process, they're all available on the North Shore Fire Department website. And Vice Chair Admin is going to be leading you through a brief review of those documents. We hope that after this brief review, you have some questions for us, and that we'll be able to provide appropriate answers for you. Vice Chair Admin.
Sure, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So hopefully you all are now looking at the North Shore Fire Department website. And so what I basically just wanted to point out to you is where information is available to you in case you had not already taken a look at this website. We have a tab here, Contract for Services. And when you go to that tab, there's a lot of different information about the process, the criteria that we are using, the basis for why we've been making this decision. So I'll just call your attention to, for instance, we have this FAQ section where we talk about what a contract for service means, reasons why we've been looking at a contract for service. Will there be any implications to service levels? What's the process we're going through to select a service provider? So that is one area of particular interest. Another one is the key dates section, which is kind of chronicles what we have done and what remains to come. So you can see that this presentation this evening is on our schedule. The next thing that we have coming up is on January 18th. We have an open house for additional public input. We're going to be having another meeting with Lake Forest Park City Council on the 24th. We'll be formalizing our recommendation on February 1st. And then we have a target date of March 1st of this year to implement the contract. So if you want to go for, find additional detail, if you are curious, you're going to read the actual proposals, you can read the East Side proposal here. You can read the Shoreline proposal here. You can see the financial comparison by our independent consultant here. You can see some interviews that we conducted with other organizations that have contractor service experience. So I'll stop it there. I just wanted to highlight that information that's available to you, and then use this opportunity to see if you have any specific questions or feedback for us this evening.
Do we have any questions? I'm not seeing any questions here. I want to thank you for taking the time to come out and give us an update. It's really helpful for us and the public to see what's happening over there. I know there's a lot of interest in this proposal, and I'm sure that you will make the right decision, whatever that might be, with the information you have. I appreciate you doing the outreach that you're doing, though. It's really important, and it's good to hear from you. So if there are no questions, we will not see any questions. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for the time.
Of course. Okay. Next on the agenda is public comments. We want to thank our community members to the council's meeting. In this forum, the council does not engage or dialogue with the public. The primary role of the council is to listen. All comments must be addressed to the mayor and city council. Please use the raise hand feature if you wish to speak. The clerk will acknowledge your request and call your name when it is your turn. Your time will start when we confirm that we can hear you. Please state your name, city of residence for the record, and keep your comments to the allotted time. Your time cannot be granted to another, and the clock time will not be reset unless there are extenuating circumstances and the presiding officer has expressly allowed it. Screen sharing is not allowed. You can submit materials to the council or clerk in advance. Please do not comment on pending development projects on which the council will make future decisions, as those are quasi-judicial matters and council members must limit their communications about such matters. This meeting is being recorded. Thank you for taking the time to express your comments. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor Herbig. At this point, we'd like to hear from the following group of guests: John Peoples, followed by Carl Michaelman, Stacy V, David Morton, and Patrick O'Brien. Mr. Peoples?
Yes, John Peoples, Kenmore. Good evening, Kenmore City Council. I begin, I lost my notes because you went to full screen. Don't stop the time. I'll make up for it. I'd like to acknowledge that we all live on American land. Special thanks to the memory of men like Watson Squire and Tracy Owen, whose generosity and commitment to the municipal life of Kenmore's residents benefits us all to this day. With respect to the proposed citizen initiative and referendum powers, I am grateful to active and involved citizens like Tim Myman, whose state initiatives and referenda over the years have saved the people of Washington millions of their hard-earned dollars and helped to keep the Washington state government humble. I look forward to the opportunity to keep the Kenmore city government humble and accountable to the people in a similar vein. I continue to await a moment of silence for those who have been killed by the COVID-19 vaccine. I also await a return to in-person city council meetings, but please do not institute a vaccine mandate or testing mandate in order to fully participate in the municipal life of Kenmore. The vaccine and testing measures, along with natural immunity and several promising therapeutics, continue to keep the virus at bay. The end of the pandemic is nigh, the emergency is long over, and such measures and the vile indignities that accompany them are completely unnecessary and unbecoming our cherished American liberty. Also, having submitted an application for membership on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force, I was surprised to read today's agenda to find that 6 finalists had already been chosen. No one told me. This is disappointing because it seems you've chosen 6 yes men and will be deprived of the wisdom of a dissenting voice on the task force. In spite of this, I will endeavor to be present in the business of the task force in an effort to help the members understand that in this day and age, such a task force is unnecessary and that the taxpayer dollars that go into the DEI effort are misspent. The DEI industry reminds me of the society in which a young Huckleberry Finn found himself, a society or subset thereof obsessed with the color of the other fellow's skin. Like old Huck Finn, and unlike the DEI industry, I've decided that that is not the right way to see people or judge them. Lastly, thanks for the flag salute and the opportunity to honor our great American Republic. And now back to Jeopardy. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Mr. Peoples.
You're welcome.
Mr. Michaelman?
Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you and see you. Go ahead.
Okay, Carl Michaelman, Kenmore, Washington. As a lot of you know, I have attended a lot of the meetings, and yesterday I was attending the retreat that you have. One of the councilwomen have suggested to go ahead now and for a benefit for the council to do health insurance. Another councilman, and I will quote, I would strongly encourage the council to not being swayed by one angry person going forward. I don't think that is governing based on one or two angry people showing up in the council meeting is necessarily governing. End quote. That was meant to me. And I'm not angry. I have a passion for our city. I have been involved with our city and helped and volunteered our city for many, many years. I have several reasons for recommending that you don't even consider this proposal. One, health insurance is expensive. It will probably cost $1,500 to $2,000 a month per council member. And that would be $10,000 to $14,000 a month for the whole bunch. This is alarming increase in your wages. It basically triples your salary. 3, health insurance is generally associated with your full-time job career. It does not come with a voluntary position. 4, while your position does take time, it does not warrant such a severe financial commitment to the taxpayers. My concerns is that along with prior decisions is showing more cost and less benefit to our city. An example would be last month when you went ahead and did a COLA of 6%. And the same meeting you voted to increase our property taxes another 1%. I could go on, but I won't. But I got to share with you, this is over the top. When you go ahead and have a different of opinion and someone thinks that it's anger, well, quite frankly, they're not in touch with the people in Kenmore. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Michaelman.
Stacy V.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you and see you. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Welcome to 2022. Congrats to Mayor Herbig and Deputy Mayor. I saw several good ideas and statements come out at the retreat this Saturday. However, there is still a disconnect with some of what the residents want and the request and the staff puts among priority. Also, I wanted to mention that the ARPA survey is set to dictate the amount allowed in each category. I was not alone in the confusion. I feel these dictated funding amounts are off base with what the needs and the request of our city improvements and needed, and give more funding to the already getting funding from other sources like human services, and little funding for those in desperate need, like the mobile home park home improvements. How much would your staff pay for one kitchen remodel or house painting? $25K. So why is only $50K the full amount designated for 257 mobile home parks owners? COVID numbers are spiking again. Thanks to our Shoreline and North Shore Fire Department that held a booster clinic in Kenmore, several residents and business employees are up to date. Their plan is to hold a pediatric clinic soon. With the COVID eviction moratorium expiring in just days, I would hope that you would put a priority on the tenant protection rights before we have hundreds of added homeless residents. The Blueprint for Better.org article on what a day with renewable energy could look like discusses the need for solar and hydro clean energy, how quiet and effective it is. More importantly, they think solar can make enough power for all of us by 2050. All I could think of it was the same thoughts with most problems we face. How are we going to get the naysayers, people that think it won't happen to them, it won't happen here, to realize it's happening here all around us? We're suffering from climate change right now. We need all of us to do our part. We need to use clean energy now. We need to give incentives, encourage and assist, not repeal permits for household and businesses to install solar panels. We need to encourage use of soy and biodegradable packaging. We need to avoid development or use of cement on our buildings, on our land now. We need to use and reuse already materials that we have. We need to see that all landowners protect our stormwater drains, waterways, and salmon now. We need to strictly enforce and protect our tree canopy. We need to enforce the use of clean processes so all creatures can breathe our ambient air now. I hope the leaders you chose tonight can see, mold, and actually lead the future in Kenmore. Thank you for consideration.
Thank you, Mrs. Valenzuela.
David Morton.
Good evening, council members. I'm David Morton. I live near Redmond. My Zoom background is Kenmore's first city council in 1998. In July 1992, the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, declared that making asphalt concrete, aka asphalt paving mix, is a major source of hazardous air pollution. The asphalt plant in what is now Kenmore was supposed to comply with strict standards in the 90s, while the EPA and air pollution control agencies looked for ways for the asphalt industry to reduce hazardous air pollution. For years, environmentally unfriendly asphalt plants had used cut-back asphalt to make asphalt paving mix, a practice that's been illegal since the 1970s. Cut-back asphalt is a mixture of asphalt binder and about 35% kerosene, a solvent that liquefies the binder. The kerosene evaporates into the air during the process of making asphalt concrete, emitting high levels of hazardous air pollution. In the late 90s, EPA worked with the asphalt industry to stop the use of cutback asphalt by developing solvent-free binders and solvent-free methods of producing asphalt concrete. By February 2002, EPA removed asphalt concrete manufacturing from the list of major sources of hazardous air pollution. This decision was based on data from 11 asphalt concrete manufacturing plants that used solvent-free binder, not cut-back asphalt. So in 2002, the asphalt industry declared a major victory, stating that no asphalt concrete manufacturing facility has the potential to emit hazardous air pollutants approaching major source levels. The statement fails to mention that solvent-free binder must be used for this statement to be true. Asphalt plants that use cutback asphalt to make asphalt paving mix still emit extremely high levels of hazardous air pollution. It's often mentioned that Cadman's asphalt plant in Kenmore is grandfathered to the standards in effect before Kenmore was incorporated, not current standards. At the time Kenmore was incorporated, asphalt plants were supposed to comply with stricter standards than the current standards. PSCAA and WashDOT seem to be aware that Cadman has been using cutback asphalt to manufacture asphalt paving mix. The asphalt plant in Kenmore is not grandfathered to any standard that currently allows it to use cutback asphalt. Cutback asphalt concrete has been illegal in the United States since the 1970s. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morton.
Mr. Patrick O'Brien.
Good evening and congratulations all the newly elected mayor and deputy mayor in Kenmore. I looked over our agenda this evening and it looks like there's a big cutout for the term equity versus equality. Equity means, hey, we don't have enough people that own dogs, not enough ballerinas, not enough convicts. Equity can be whatever the local municipality decides is going to give a boost to. Equality is when you treat all people fairly. And I found that when this city enabled the hanging of Black Lives Matter signage on our government building, that was an illegal act. And now you continue to go on with the same sort of verbiage that basically is a cutout for whatever you want to make it be. It's ridiculous. Equality is equality. All people treated the same, do so. Then this health insurance, that has never been part of any promise made to any of the elected people. And it's not clear whether or not your whole family would be covered or if it's just you. And I would say that we need to have a vote of the citizens to enable you to have that health care, because it's not been offered before. And you can't be self-serving and say, oh, let's come up with more stuff to give to ourselves and then vote it in. That's absolutely preposterous. Would people run so they could get medical coverage? Maybe we'd have more people run or refuse to leave office because, hey, I'm getting my medical. Why should I go? So this is, not a full-time job, and it's not clear whether or not your family would be included. And there is linkage. Why don't we say, hey, you guys can get healthcare as soon as the asphalt plant gets shut down? That might motivate you to do something about it, because from where we're sitting and all the people before me speaking, we've got a problem with that. And we got a problem of the city council not executing the wishes of the public for their own health. So yeah, have your public provided health insurance, but let's do it right after the asphalt plant has been ruled it's got to go. There's a linkage I can live with. And as far as the fire department goes, I'd like you to look at all the assets and millions of dollars we've spent here in Kenmore on that facility. And I want to see Medic 1 on the south side of the bridge. And we're not going to get that, I don't think, in either proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Mayor Herbig, we have two additional hands that were raised. Nancy at Glenwood Gardens and John Culver. If there's anyone else that wishes to speak, please raise your hand now. Nancy?
Okay, here we go. To our new mayor, Herbig, and the council members, congratulations. And to Melanie O'Kane also, thank you. I have a concern about property proposed for new construction that's being okayed by Kenmore without going through the processes required for both critical areas and other environmental concerns. I think I commented earlier on a property built up near me with a few homes and large lots. It was originally a single little farmhouse type of structure in the middle of a large parcel. I know there was a lot of water running around the whole lot actually, and along the upper edge it was running fast, and then through the ditch at the bottom, and then in the direction of the creek about a block away that goes down to the Srebnik River. So during construction, I watched a hole being dug, then sawdust piled on top to hide the water. And I also watched the neighbors right in next to this, a few feet actually, what their property was a few feet from it, move in this time frame before the houses got built. So this treatment of the water is not appropriate for what is headed to the Srebnik River. It might have been made into a pond and planted with the kinds of grasses that can filter and clean the water before going downstream. And this, of course, is the same water that goes to the river where we're talking about an attempt to get salmon back. Now, I don't think it's possible unless we start looking at what's going into that water more carefully. It can come from miles away, actually. I wanted to say there's a handbook on critical areas available, and it came out in 2018. It came out of the GMA Environmental Department. I think they hired some special people from people who had worked on these projects, like watershed projects as planners in a couple of counties.
and it was written as an education on critical areas for cities and other municipalities. I don't know if Kenmore has seen this or studied it. They should have had notice of it anyway. They also developed later videos that are a lot easier for a group to watch together. So I'm going to send this information to the council and hope that maybe you will, look into that and do some education, because I kind of think this is an education problem with understanding all of what critical areas really mean. And it's not, it's pretty complicated actually. So it'd be nice to get started. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hanson.
Mm-hmm.
John Culver.
Yes, hello, can you hear me, see me?
We can, go ahead.
Great. Good evening, council. In the spirit of concision, I will keep it brief. Initiatives. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Culver.
Elizabeth Mooney.
Hello, council. Hello, Anastasia.
Hello, go ahead.
You're the only one I see, so it's always friendly. Thank you for always being a friendly facilitator as the city clerk. Yes, congratulations, Mayor Herbig and O'Kane, Deputy Mayor O'Kane, and thank you the rest of the council for all the work you've been doing as a team. I really appreciated listening the whole day with my husband to your retreat. And so oh yes, Elizabeth Mooney, I've lived in Kenmore for, I think now it's 26 years, and I care a lot about the clean air, clean water, clean sediment, and the health of our citizens. I heard you speaking in the retreat about the brand, our city's brand. And we've been discussing this in our family. Please do not spend time trying to change what we are now. We've gone from the old saying, which I didn't really like, to the present one, which we like, which is Kenmore by the lake. So please use your time and your vision and your focus and your creative spirits and think about transformation at our shoreline, on our rivers, in our riparian zones, counting how many trees we have, how many trees we want to save as we go forward with the big plans ahead. We don't need a new name. Don't change our brand. Just help us educate our whole city about what's going on at the shoreline with the heavy industry. And then let's fix the lake, the river, the shoreline in healthy ways. I've talked to citizens who know a lot about the algae, and she's willing to talk with all of you. We'll probably start the PERC lecture series again with our nonprofit People for Environmentally Responsible Kenmore. We'll probably need to do that in Zoom because of Omicron. But what we need is our whole city to know that that heavy industry, the asphalt especially, is grandfathered in under the old rules. And I want to support David Morton, Stacy Valenzuela, Nancy Hanson's comments, John Culver about the initiatives, but really focusing on helping you listen to what we're learning about the changes, the EPA rules. It's super complicated. And thanks to David Morton, he has been trying to help us understand how complicated that is. Yes, we need to work with our neighbors, but our neighbors should be required to be good neighbors and have clean air and clean water. And that's not happening necessarily at our shoreline. So let's work together on making that shoreline good for salmon and the migrating Chinook that hug the shoreline. And thank you. We'll work with you.
Thank you, Ms. Mooney.
Sally Coverzon. Sally, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Oh, here you are. Yes, we can. We can hear you and see you. Go ahead.
Great, thank you. My name is Sally Kaverzan. I live in Kenmore on the ancestral land of the coastal Salish. First, congratulations to Mayor Herbig and Deputy Mayor O'Kane, and thank you, Council Member Baker, for your 14 years as mayor. Tonight, I wish to speak to you on a matter close to my heart. Community members this week learned of the permanent closure of a long-standing local business, the Cozy Inn Tavern. This loss will be felt by many who will continue to remember the laughs and drinks served across its lifespan. My understanding is that the structural issues of the building were the primary contributor to this decision. I am told that this tiny building with a phenomenal view of Lake Washington has been a local tavern since 1933. Standing alongside this watering hole is an even older fixture, an enormous and majestic madrona tree on the bluff above the Burke-Gilman Trail. Almost a year ago, I felt pulled to this aged madrona tree in ways that are hard to explain. English ivy creeps up and around it, choking off the health of some of its branches. With permission of the property owners, community members began an effort to improve its health. Those who are familiar with this species of native tree know that it is notoriously fickle to grow. Their saplings do not transplant well, and the species is slow to grow and prefers to live on bluffs that are often not easily traversable. Based on the size of this specific madrona, I hazard an estimate that it is well over 100 years old, and possibly the largest and oldest madrona tree in urban North King County. This tree is located at the true north of Lake Washington and is beloved to many locals. Now I am very concerned that with the closing of this tavern and with the inevitable demolition of the building, that this land will be cleared and converted into something like condos, and that will mean the end of this gigantic tree that is a long-standing establishment. It is noteworthy too that madronas are considered a sacred tree to the Duwamish tribe. My understanding is that these hardy hardwood trees provided anchor for the coastal Salish canoes during their great flood story. As we recognize that we are the colonizers of this land, it is our responsibility to preserve that which is valuable to the land's people. My ask is that the City Council consider protecting this tree and not allowing it to be torn down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor
Clerk.
Herbig, I see no additional hands raised.
Okay. Next topic on the agenda is the consent agenda. If there are no objections, the consent agenda will stand approved. Hearing no objections, the consent agenda is approved. Next, we go into the business agenda. The first item, select diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI task force members presented by Human Resources Manager Leonora Polania and City Consultant Chan Kelly Ray.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Herbig and Deputy Mayor O'Kane. Congratulations. And council members, we'd like to begin by thanking you all for diligently reviewing each and every candidate who applied for our DEI task force. And we would also like to extend a heartfelt thanks to all who applied. We'd like to highlight the diversity of the rich candidate pool that applied and that consisted of individuals that represented many different communities, groups, and age ranges from 16 to about 90 years old. And add that the diverse range of their life experiences will bring a richness to our first inaugural DEI task force. Now, initially, we were going to select a group of 6 or 8 task force members. Instead, we've identified 14. I would also like to share, because of the significant number of applications and interests, it created a collateral opportunity. And by this, I mean, we're also looking to potentially utilize this list of candidates and even perhaps tapping those who were not selected to serve on the DEI task force for future engagement and activities. So it was a great turnout, and we're proud to say that the following individuals will be serving on our DEI task force, and I will read the names. Darlene Ademba, Juanita Aguilar, David Arthur, Marco Ballesteros, Ligia or Lily Bishop, William Castro, Peggy Evans, Jeannie Galloway, Carlos Gill, Aisha Jallo, Leslie McGuire, Juliana Pooley, Nancy Ty, and Parker Travis. So the next steps are that we'll be gathering and meeting as a group virtually, and the city, in collaboration with Shannon Kelly Ray Consulting and the DEI Task Force Advisory Group, will be shaping and creating a policy to use and apply to how we perform our work, how we hire, and our service delivery. Thank you, and thank you to all who applied.
And I would also like to add just a special thank you to the council. Well, first, congratulations to those council members sworn in this evening, and to the new mayor, Herbig, and deputy mayor. It's always a pleasure to see such excitement and to see a continuance of such good work, commitment to public service, and the dedication of your time and talents in this effort. I'll also say that it's no small undertaking to see the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force even during these times. I want to call out in particular the difference in this work between really equality and equity. And our hope in seating such a diverse and broad perspective of all of the community of Kenmore means that with equality, it's the idea that you would give the same service, the same attention, and the same resource to every individual. But equity means that we can recognize the inherent difference in individuals and really work to meet individuals where they are. And because governments and because organizations and because community members do this for one another, we can look at children in the North Shore School District with learning differences and understand that some children, because of neurological, sensory, or physical difference, requires different assists in order that they be successful. We can look at different members of the community where some may speak American Sign Language, and in order to participate in a conversation such as this with relay or requiring disability assistance or other means to communicate, that we can meet them where they are so that they may fully participate in their government. It means that we can look at someone that requires special accommodations for wheelchairs or special accommodations so that if someone is a service member that is injured in the service of their country and our freedom, that they can come back and not be treated as everyone in the community, but they may be met with where they are, so that they can continue to fully participate in all of the richness, beauty, and promise that our country provides. And so I'm excited to work with this council. I'm excited to work with the city manager's office and all of the community of Kenmore so that we won't think that we're going to build a government of the people, by the people, and for the people with one mold or one model. That we can look at our rich and shared history and understand that this country hasn't always been perfect, but we strive to be together, and that we can meet one another where we are so that we can all thrive and do well together. And so this task force will help serve in that regard. And we're excited to be able to partner along with you to do that on behalf of all of the community of Kenmore. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments? Okay, I'm not seeing any questions or comments. It does say there's action requested here. What exact action is staff requesting? Mr. City Manager?
Yeah, it would be helpful for a motion and a second to confirm these appointments.
Okay. Well, the chair will entertain a motion to accept and confirm the appointments given to us by Ms. Palania.
So move, Councilmember File.
Second, Councilmember Kugler.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Certainly. Councilmember O'Kane.
Yes.
Councilmember Kugler.
Yes.
Councilmember Srebnik.
Yes.
Councilmember File.
Yes.
Councilmember Marshall.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Mayor Herbig.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Next on the agenda, ARPA business recovery results presented by Assistant City Manager and ARPA Administrator Stephanie Lukash.
Good evening. It's nice
Evening.
to be with you. Congratulations to our new Mayor Herbig and Deputy Mayor O'Kane and to the council members who are sworn in tonight. Very excited to work with you in the future. We're going to talk tonight about the survey that we conducted of our businesses to better understand their experiences in the pandemic and help us decide how we might spend some of our American Rescue Plan Act funds to benefit our businesses. So we conducted a survey and I will show you the highlights of the survey, and we'll hear from a business owner or two who will talk about their experiences firsthand. The full results of the survey are in your agenda packet. We won't go through those tonight. There were a lot of questions and a lot of really wonderful open-ended responses. I encourage you to take a look at your convenience. So we'll start by, I think our clerk will help by screen sharing a slide presentation. Thank you so much, Anastasia.
You got it. 1 minute. Let me know when we're live. Do I need to swap the view?
I can see it. Can we do a slideshow? Or it's just the one slide.
Yeah, we're seeing the notes here too.
Got it. Yep, that's what I was confirming. Okay, this should be
There we
better.
go.
Okay.
Yes, thank you so much for that. So I wanted to start tonight with a quote because the pandemic has been so hard on our community and so hard on all of us and very hard on our businesses. And I really like this quote. It says, ultimately, the greatest lesson that COVID-19 can teach humanity is that we are all in this together. And I think that's what we're doing as a community, is coming together and helping each other. And that's what we'll talk about tonight in terms of how can we help our businesses and what have they told us has been their experience. So the purpose of this survey, and we have ARPA funds, and we wanted to understand from our businesses' perspective what their experience has been and help them give us feedback on how we might spend some of our ARPA funds. The Chamber and the Kenmore Business Alliance were key in helping us get the word out. We had the survey open from September 10th until October 22nd, and we received 45 responses to the survey. So just thank you to the Chamber and the Business Alliance for their help. This slide is really the one-page summary of the survey results. So what you'll see there, if we had 45 respondents, the top challenges facing our businesses was really rising costs and revenue loss due to the pandemic. And for me, the 93% you see at the top was so poignant. 93% of our businesses experienced financial hardship due to the pandemic. And we had 28% applied for and received financial grants or assistance earlier. Nancy Owsley will be sharing a little bit more later in this presentation about that. But where we're centering on tonight is 75% of the respondents said that both recovery cash grants and or essential worker pay grants would be the #1 way the city can help. And so we've taken that to heart, and we'll be moving forward with that as part of our community engagement effort that's underway. There are some really great quotes at the bottom. I won't read them all to you, but I just want you to all know that we really thank you to every business who responded to the survey, to everyone who took the time to answer the questions and to provide comments. We read every single one of them, and we've tried to pick a few representative quotes here, but there were so many wonderful responses and just honest, just really heartfelt and important and something difficult to hear, but important for us to know what our businesses are experiencing, just the revenue loss and those that had to shut their doors, etc. But we're really centering on that 75%. So this, there are, again, the full results in your packet. Just have 3 questions I wanted to show you tonight, the responses. We asked a question, what has been the impact of the pandemic on your business? And kind of select all that apply. And so you can see financial hardship again at the top. Financial hardship came up in multiple questions. Changes to operations, cancellation of events, some temporarily closed. Had to work from home as we're all here virtually tonight, and etc. Just want to just center on financial hardship came up over and over in the responses, and really that's where we landed, which I'll get to in a moment. Next slide, please. So what challenges are businesses currently facing? So 78% said the cost of business is rising. And then also, companion to that, revenue loss due to the pandemic. So again, financial hardship. And then we heard other things were challenging, including masks, employees not returning or finding employees, and then there were a series of other responses that you can find in the open-ended comments in the full survey result report. So when we asked that the respondents to rank, these were the choices, and this was how they responded. So the top vote getter was those cash grants, and then the second choice was worker pay grants. We also had looked at technical assistance with grant applications from kind of a buy local program, and then business coaching, but really it was those top 2 grants that and essential worker pay that were the most important. Next slide. So currently out in our community, we're asking for our community's participation in the community engagement tool, and there are 2 levels of business assistance that are on the menu, one at $250,000 and one at $450,000. So we look forward to seeing how those results come out. So I'm going to turn it over now to Nancy Owsley, and she'll continue to talk about some of the work that has happened up to date with business assistance, and then we'll hear from a business owner too. So I'll turn it over to Nancy. Thank you.
Nancy, I'm screen sharing, but I can't hear you. Are you with us?
How's this?
Wonderful. We hear you and see you.
Okay. I just had to do a double click, I guess. But congratulations also to Mayor Herbig and Deputy Mayor O'Kane, and thank you, Councilmember Baker, for your amazing service. I'm going to cover a few things about the work that has been done to date, and really the impacts on our local businesses. We have over 1,100 registered businesses in Kenmore, and Kenmore's structure for business registration is it only requires it of businesses who have a physical presence in the city. A lot of cities require a business license or registration if you're doing business in a city, even if you're located someplace else. But our approach is we want to know who operates from here, and so we can stay in touch with them. And so we have over 1,100 businesses. And since 2020, I think one of the most just astounding things is the wide range of business sectors that have been affected. And we want to talk a little bit about that, the prior grants that have been available to us, and other actions that we've been able to take. But we do really have an amazing opportunity to do good with our business community with this funding that is available. I think that everyone thought, well, okay, travel has really been affected by the pandemic, and so businesses who rely on travel are going to be affected, and things like restaurants or other businesses that have had to, in some cases, cease operations or really change the way that they operated. Yes, those were affected, but we heard from so many different businesses, like personal care, physical therapists, gyms, dentists, salons, of course, anything that involved a big gathering of people, like businesses who sell to people during concerts or other entertainment. Our bowling alley was severely affected, but other sectors too, like automotive, towing and mechanical and limousine services, the home services, like home repair, sometimes moving services, because people were reluctant to have other people in their homes, certainly at different times in the pandemic. And then some of the things that were affected by the fact that more people were working from home, such as the dry cleaners have been really affected, animal services and daycare have been affected. And so the fact is that obviously we have unfortunately had businesses in our city that have had to close, and the need really does remain. And we're going to hear from a couple of local businesses right now, so that you can get a sense of how they have fared during this really challenging time. And like a lot of other businesses, they've looked to find ways to do things a little differently in these different situations and conditions. So City Clerk, if you can promote Joy and Jonathan Doctor and Judy Bartlow, we'll hear from them.
Thank you, Nancy. I believe Mr. Doctor is with us. Jonathan, are you with us right now? Jonathan, can you hear us? I see that you are part of our panelist pool.
Yes, hello.
Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen so we can see you.
Okay. Where's my
We
picture?
we can hear you. We can't see you.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, well, maybe you don't have to see us. I'm here with my wife, Joy. I'm Jonathan Doctor. We have a business here in Kenmore. We've owned this business for 28 years, and we've been residents of Kenmore for 25 years. And both of our children have gone through the Kenmore schools. We have kind of a unique business. We're called Uncle Stinky's Magic and Entertainment. And our business is unique because we don't have an actual physical location. We are hired to bring our entertainment venues to all kinds of events, sometimes fairs and festivals. We've been honored to do some events for Kenmore, the Luminary Walk, which was recent, as well as your fireworks display in Log Broom. When the pandemic hit us, we had a stack of contracts to do private events and concerts and fairs and festivals a mile high. And of course, one by one, cancel, cancel, cancel.
About a year and a half.
So for over a year and a half, no business whatsoever. Every contract was canceled. Then finally, late in 21, we had to do some, we'll call
Changes.
in our behavior. In other words, we had to stretch ourselves, and we had to do types of events that we were not used to doing. Some holiday fairs, and I guess you call them gift
Well, it
shows.
sent us to areas because locally there was nothing for us to do. So we were forced to do events at, let's say, in Snohomish or
Kitsap County.
Kitsap County. And when we got to those events, even though we were, yes, making some money and we were very happy, many people there were not so careful about their health and wearing masks and watching out for not only themselves, but other people. And so we really felt that we were putting ourselves on the unhealthy line, even though we were taking every precaution that we could. And luckily we've been very healthy. We have not had any problems health-wise. However, it was very disconcerting that that's the environment that we had to go to in order to be welcome to be able to be at events and be able to make some money.
Yeah, just to give you a little bit of an idea, real briefly, the types of private events that we did. We had contracts with Emerald Downs Racetrack, all of the colleges to do special events, University of Washington. We do
a lot with
YMCA summer camps and
Boys and Girls Clubs.
Yeah.
Many of the tribes.
So what it really comes down to is we, as a small business here in Kenmore, have had to learn or try to reinvent ourselves and become much more imaginative as to how we can get business of any sort. And we'd like to, of course, work with the city of Kenmore in any way possible. We have some ideas about bringing special events to there we are, now you can see us, about bringing special events to Kenmore and being a Kenmore Kids Arts Day. It's something that we're working on and we'd like to explore that. That's our situation. We'd love to stay in business, and we have no interest in retiring because we love what we do. We're entertainers. We bring lots of fun and enjoyment to people, and it's something we want to do as long as possible. So anybody have any questions, feel free.
Hey, thank you so much. It was so great to see you at the Luminary Walk.
Oh, pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Anastasia, have we heard from Judy Bartlow?
Unfortunately, we haven't, and so
Okay.
I'm afraid to say maybe she did not make it this evening.
Okay. Judy Bartlow, as you know, is the manager of the Kenmore Grocery Outlet, and so she, I think, will be happy to talk with any of you about their situation. Also, Joanne Evans, who is with Kenmore Lanes, was not available to join us tonight, but said that she is very interested in answering any questions that anyone from council has. So please keep that in mind. So could we see the next slide, please? And full screen on this slide, please.
Is that the wrong setting? Do you want me to switch it back?
I'd like the slide on the left to be full size, please.
Is that projecting right?
No, but that's okay. I want to talk a little bit about the prior grants that we have been able to distribute. These grants, and can we see the slide, please?
Yes, stand by.
We're in 2020 and in early 2021. It came from two rounds came from the State Department of Commerce. and were available to Kenmore businesses who had been applicants for the big Working Washington rounds 1 and rounds 2 grants from the Department of Commerce, but were not chosen for those grants. And so you can see that of the 48 grants in total that we were able to distribute, about 30 of those came from the Department of Commerce, and they were and they ranged from $1,500 to $3,000 each for those grants. King County had CARES funding as well, and allocated about $35,000 to the city for grants. And this is when we really got the sense of the extent of the need in Kenmore, because we sent out a broadcast email to all of our registered businesses with this opportunity, and a very simple, five question survey as part of the application, and we got 89 applicants for those grants. We wanted to have a meaningful amount for each grant amount, and so we set that at just under $2,000, $1,955. And so of those 89 applicants, we were only able to fund 18 of those from the King County grant. So that gave us a real sense of the extent of the need. I guess we're not seeing slides right now. Other business assistance that we provided in addition to those grants from King County and the state, we had some funds that we could put together business kits, the PPE and handheld temperature devices, and over 3 sessions in 2020, we distributed 150 of those kits. And then through Port of Seattle grant money that we had, we were able to launch a Back Our Businesses campaign, which was pretty successful, and we're bringing that back. And then we also continued business acceleration training and consultation, also thanks to Port of Seattle grant funds. So final slide for me. Again, we have over 1,100 registered businesses who have their primary location in Kenmore, and a majority of those 1,100 are actually home-based businesses. So it's even more challenging sometimes to be able to make contact with them, but we've found a way to do it, and we know that the need is still very, very real, and we would really like to be able to fund as many businesses as possible and make it a meaningful amount as well. So with that, I thank you for your time and attention, and welcome any questions for either Stephanie or me.
Could we take down the screen share quickly? Thank you. Do we have any questions? It's a really quiet group today. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any questions. I very much appreciate the update and the information. Yeah, thank you so much for coming tonight and for presenting.
Thanks very much. Back our businesses.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have a Kenmore Cares update presented by Assistant City Manager, ARPA Administrator Stephanie Lukash, and partner North Shore Schools.
Thank you so much. And we do have Heather Erickson with us. And this is a an update on the Kenmore Cares work that we're doing and some follow-up some questions that were asked at the December council meeting. So I'm going to turn it over to Heather. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, council members. Just wanted to give an update from our last conversation in December, discuss what we have done since that meeting. We, at the time, to refresh your memory, we had served 102 households and 211 residents. As of today, we've serviced 177 households, so a significant jump, even during the holiday season when we thought things might slow down a bit, but we've done 177 households serviced and 389 residents to date, totaling $407,000 that we've given out. So thank you for your generosity last month and shifting the dollar amount. We have heard several outcries from the community members just in their thanks to the dollars and what it's been able to do for them through the holidays and to assist them. We did have a conversation in regards to the homelessness population and the way in which we could service them and continue our outreach. And we have created a attestation statement that we are utilizing for individuals that come into Kenmore or are homelessness in Kenmore and how we can service them and not having residency or permanent residency or proof of residency. So we do have that form in place. We have not utilized it yet, but it is available. So when we have those individuals that may come into the library or into our city hall hours, we're able to service them directly with the form, asking a few basic questions. And then also if they are of no income, we have the ability to provide the no income attestation as well. So just wanted to share that if there were any questions or comments.
Councilmember Marshall.
Hi, thank you. Does the attestation require any kind of proof of association or residing in Kenmore?
It asks a couple of questions. One in regards to, is there a location or a, where have you been in the last few months? Is there a street corner where you local or reside majority of time? So there are a couple questions and a couple areas that we ask them to give as much detail as they can.
Councilmember Marshall?
Yeah, but no other documents, for instance, asked for?
No, we're not asking.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, Councilmember Kugler.
Having trouble with my mute button tonight. Heather, I just want to thank you so much for expanding and going back to applicants to award that and to do it quickly, because we know that this additional funding is so important and so important to reach families when they need it. So thank you for doing that. I'm glad to hear that we were able to serve and support more people and that we also didn't even reach our budget. So so it sounds like we were able to at least meet the need that was already existing. So that's great. And I just want to clarify, because I might have misheard, did you say we awarded 407 or 417? Did I get that number right?
407, you were correct, okay. 407.
Great, today. Thank you.
Yeah, and I should say that we do have, just since we processed these numbers, we do have 15 more applications in process from this week and 17 applications in follow-up. So we are servicing people still on a regular basis. They're still coming to us. Our website actually had great upticks this week. So we know people are continuing to hear about it and the outreach continues to support the community. Thank you.
Councilor Marshall.
I apologize. And I apologize for being redundant. Nobody else had come back around to the question. And I was just thinking out loud, if at all you think it's a good idea, just a thought I have, maybe there could be something on the attestation for people who don't have the traditional residency proofs to have maybe room for another statement from a resident of Kenmore to say, hey, this person actually does live here. Or is actually show a connection with somebody in Kenmore who's willing to help them out. Just a thought. Thank you.
Right. And Joe, we have had some of that, Councilmember Marshall. We have had where they've been couch surfing, or so we have had a little bit of that where we've tried to stay connected so that we do have accurate information for our record keeping and servicing.
Do we have any further questions? Okay, Councilmember File.
Do you need any further action from us?
I think just to continue to spread the word. That's really what we're doing, is still continuing to spread the word, and we're doing it across all of our platforms, and we encourage you to do it as well. You know, for you, Councilmember Feifel, if you're at the high school or you're engaged in any of those environments, we too are working closely with the teams at Inglemoor and Kenmore L. But you know, just keeping the word going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And when is the next time we hear from an update on this? Is it next month or?
Next month.
Very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much for the update. We appreciate the work you're doing. Mr. City Manager, I saw your camera turn on.
Just get ready for the next item.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, regional committee assignments. City Manager Rob Carr-Lindsay.
Thank you. It's that time to update your regional committees assignments roster. And if I may, I'll share screen. Let's see. Where is that darn thing? Oh, there it is. Have so many windows open. So this is attached as a link in your packet. Can you see this okay? Can everybody see this? Yeah, okay. The second page is not necessarily appointed by the council, and we'll update this. The second page, second and third page needs updating. But this first page are appointments by the city council. And I just wanted to give you this opportunity to review it, see if you want to make any changes tonight for the new year.
Well, I would like to, I am with this new role and with some other changes, I'm actually trimming a little bit of my activities. And I would like to step away from Seashore. If somebody else would like to step in and join Councilmember O'Kane on Seashore, that would be welcome. They meet once a month, Friday morning, 7:30. Once we get back in person, there will be coffee and donuts, if that makes it easier. It's usually at Shoreline City Hall.
Is my screen share helping or hindering at this point?
Councilmember Kugler, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I'm actually just talking to myself. I'm just
okay.
Squinting at my screen. Yeah.
Sorry. Councilmember File.
I have a question about another position and not Seashore, but it's the SCA PIC appointment. Normally the mayor serves in the primary role. Will you be taking on that role?
No, I am perfectly happy with Councilmember Baker continuing in that role.
Okay.
The other thing that didn't get in here that we probably should discuss, and this may be a short-term thing, is we do have an advisory seat with the North Shore Fire Commission. I do not have the capacity to do those meetings right now. I went to a couple of the meetings, gave some input, but I can't continue to do, I think it's 2 meetings a month right now at 5 o'clock, something like that. Sorry, I don't have the calendar in front of me. But if anybody else is interested in that, I would be happy to hand that off. That might be something that is going away as they finish the contract discussions. I'm not 100% certain about that. Councilmember Kugler.
So I could fill that seashore transportation role, but I was hoping that we might be able to go through all of the opportunities just so I have an idea of what's available. And could we come back to that?
Yeah. I mean, unless people have objections, I think folks are generally holding on to what they currently have. Or does anybody else want to? Councilmember Marshall.
Yeah, I think I'm looking to trim a bit of my time also, even though I'm only on one of these boards, but I don't know if Councilmember File is interested in being the, whatever the lead is for North Shore Parks and Recreation Board, and then I could be the alternate.
Councilmember File.
Thank you. Councilmember Marshall, I'd really like not to, and unfortunately it's because I have a conflict of schedule. So usually Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights, I'm attending night school full time.
Yeah,
Working on that public health degree, right? But I love it, and I've been happy to serve as alternate. It's just the day that it's on is a complicated day.
Does anybody else want to pick up?
Yeah, I'm not seeing the day on here, at least.
Wednesdays at 6, and it's usually once a month. I mean, once a month.
Okay, on here it says 3 or 4 times a year. Okay, so that's really different. Okay.
So it is now monthly, huh?
Or excuse me, it's been reduced. So probably it's going to be like every other month, I think. I can't tell you for certain. I'm sorry, but it's not, it's not monthly.
I would be probably interested in that. I don't have a local committee, so that would be potentially something I'd be interested in. It would be nice to kind of clarify the commitment, though. You said it's Wednesday nights?
It is Wednesday nights. That I know for sure.
Yeah, well, that is a night I can typically do, so.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on these? Deputy Mayor O'Kane, are you okay holding on to the Performing Arts Advisory Board?
Actually, you read my mind. I was going to bring that up. In my time, I haven't been invited to a meeting for the Performing Arts Advisory Board. I definitely would open it up to someone else. I'm not sure if it's still in a board that's still in use or.
Yeah, that's another one I have some interest in. I'm assuming this is for impact more broadly rather than there was a time limited advisory board that I was on for the Inglemore concert hall performing arts piece. I'm assuming this is for the impact more broadly, and I think they were struggling to have a board at all. So, I mean, whatever, I'd probably prefer the Parks and Rec, but it would be nice for somebody to figure out whether Impact does have a board.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes. The North Shore Performing Arts Board, that's going away because Kenmore High School is getting their own, and I would expect a new board to be formed there. So I'm not surprised there hasn't been any meetings for quite some time with that.
All right, I think, Your Honor, may I jump in?
Yes.
I think we can do some research on that and find out if this NPAC still exists and if there will be a local one at Inglemore High School concert hall forming, and we can get back to you.
Do we have anybody who's interested in being Deputy Mayor O'Kane's alternate at RIA 8? Councilmember Kugler?
I know in the past I had said I was interested in that, but just seeing the time of the meetings, I don't think that's going to work for me, unfortunately. I am happy then, just looking and hearing the additional conversation. I'm happy to fill the Seashore Transportation Forum. I think actually that will align really nicely being on ETP as well. So.
Oh, okay. I will warn you. Sometimes it's the same presentation 2 Friday mornings in a row. So that's part of why I feel okay kind of peeling away from one, because they're not always the same, but sometimes they are. But if you're happy taking that, that would be great. It's a great group of people over there. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I'm fine taking that, especially if we have 2 voting positions. I want to make sure it's filled. So
wonderful. Any other thoughts? Anybody? Any other positions that we need to talk about? Councilmember File?
I would be interested in RI8, but because of some upcoming action, I think that it's better I wait it out. So otherwise, the time would otherwise work out. So maybe in the future.
Okay, that works.
And Your Honor, I think the only remaining question would be the North Shore Fire Commission advisory role.
Yeah, does anybody have excitement for Fire Commission work? Right now, it's been me and Deputy Mayor Cassover from LFP going to some of their meetings and giving some comments. Okay, I will continue to make them when I can, but it's a little difficult on my end. So,
okay,
all right,
I'll stop sharing.
Perfect. All right, staff report. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I just want to echo and join the chorus of all the congratulations that have been given. This is an exciting night, and it's fun to be part of this democratic process. And it's just been a thrill and a joy to work with all of you. Special shout out to Mayor Baker, who's put in 14 years as the mayor. It's going to be a long time before somebody beats that streak. So Mayor Baker and I have been through a lot. I work for all of you, but I usually tend to work a little more closely with the mayor and deputy mayor, especially when it comes to things like agendas and things like that, or representing the city regionally or nationally. And Mayor Baker has been all in. He just loves Kenmore, just passionate about this city. And he has a zest for life. He loves trying out new things. Maybe like 6 or 8 years ago, do you guys remember Dancing with the Stars that the chamber put on? I was invited to do that, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. And I told the mayor about it, and he goes, let me. So he did Dancing with the Stars, and he learned some amazing dance moves.
And I've never danced a time in my life.
He brought down the house. It was awesome. So that's an example of how he just likes to constantly be out there and living life to its fullest. So he's been an example to me and an inspiration. So, and I'm really excited to work with Mayor Herbig. He's equally passionate about the city and doing good things and helping Kenmore thrive and helping our citizens and our residents love their community and love where they live. So thank you so much. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you very much. Councilmember reports and comments. Councilmember Marshall.
Thank you. Well, congratulations all around. And thank you to David Baker for these many fine years of service and great things that he's done. I believe he was in on the skate park at some point in there, which is something, again, I will never tire of saying it, that having grown up here, it was only a remote, distant fantasy. They were like telling us, no, it can't be done, kids. No way, never. And I mean, to have that just weighs huge on my mind. And of course, on top of everything else, and then this legacy I think we're going to see of the walkways and waterways project, which is pretty comprehensive and amazing, and receiving admiration for its striving to be green, with Juárez Park and the log boom and everywhere else. So I definitely appreciate and thank David Baker for his service as mayor, and congratulations to Nigel Herbig, who I think maybe I was skeptical at first because Nigel's from Shoreline.
He's not from Seattle. How dare you, sir?
Seattle. Okay. See, I thought it was Shoreline, but Seattle, right? Not from Kenmore. But there's no question Nigel Herbig, I think, has really been there for the city in diligently and very, I think, even-handedly dealing with all kinds of issues. We've disagreed, we've agreed, but it's always, I really feel, with genuine principle that Nigel approaches everything, genuine high principle. And I appreciate it. And congratulations to Deputy Mayor Melanie O'Kane, who I think is going to make an outstanding deputy mayor. She brought forward or at least I think was a driving force behind the environmental initiatives at the very least, and all kinds of other issues she's helping us on. So congratulations to everybody, and thank you for everybody here for the discussion and for everybody's opinions and views on it. Thanks to the public input today, and I just wanted to also thank Sally Cavarzon for bringing up the Madrona at the north end of the lake. I personally feel that Madronas are like an emblem of our natural local environment to be preserved at all costs. They mean so much. Thanks everybody.
Councilmember Srebnik.
Yeah, just echoing congratulations to Mayor Herbig and Deputy Mayor O'Kane. It's going to be hard to get used to saying that and not saying Mayor Baker. I don't not come out of my mouth. And thank you, David, for all your years of leadership in the city and regionally. When people think of Kenmore, they know you and they think highly of our city because of you and all of your efforts. And, I just can't thank you enough, and for being supportive, and, one of the people who very early on supported me in getting involved and staying involved. So I just want to thank you for all of those years and all of your work.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Kugler.
Thank you. I made some notes, so I want to make sure I cover everything. So first, I would like to give my sincere congratulations to Mayor Herbig and also Deputy Mayor O'Kane. I always trust that this group will make the best decision for the interests of the city, and I think that this is a great team to be leading us forward for the next 2 years. I also want to thank Councilmember File for her nomination. I felt like I wasn't speaking very eloquently earlier, but really appreciated her support and kind words. I also wanted to thank the staff for the incredible amount of prep work that they did for the retreat. I didn't get to do that on Saturday. The work plans are always impressive, and the updates and the packet that we get and all of the work that goes into planning for that day, I really appreciate it. So I want to make sure the staff know that. And then I'd also like to thank Mayor Baker for his 14 years of service in this role. I mean, knowing him as a resident and then now on the council, like I just can see how much heart and time and dedication and advocacy he has done for the city, both locally and through all of his connections and relationships that he's nurtured over the many years that he served. So thank you so much, Mayor Baker. And I'm excited to kick off a new year. So thank you.
Councilmember File.
Thank you. Before I give my updates and comments, I'm asking to move to executive session at the recommendation of our city attorney.
I'm sorry, what is,
To discuss a possible impending complaint.
So I think, Mr. Mayor, the council member file is requesting an executive session under RCW 4230-110 subsection 1I, which is potential litigation.
Mhm.
And how long would this take? 20 minutes, 30 minutes? We do need to identify a time.
Right. I would take your recommendation, Ms. Dawn Riton.
Mr. Mayor, 20 minutes?
if we need to do that, we can
Or-
do that when we're done with council comments. Is this, I mean, I'll
And-
take the city attorney's advice. Is this something we have to do this evening?
Mr. Mayor, I was asked to consider a executive session before making my comment tonight.
So you're asking for executive session before you speak?
That's right.
Okay,
That's my understanding.
okay. We'll go to Mayor Baker then. We'll go to Councilmember Baker and then circle back. Rob.
And I just need a couple seconds to create that Zoom link. So while you guys are, while the mayor's doing his comments and stuff, I'm going to create that exec session Zoom link and then I'll email it to you. Okay.
Okay.
While the council member is doing his report, not mayor.
Oh, did I say Mayor Baker?
You did.
Oh,
I'm still trying to get out of the habit. It's going to be a hard one. Councilmember Baker.
So, busy week. I had a great meeting with Congresswoman Delbeni. We discussed a number of things. Amongst those was her request for the $1.5 million culvert replacement in Fish Passage in her community projects list that she put forward. And I also thanked her for her undying support with the Kenmore Navigation Channel. And I told her that U.S. Army Corps of Engineers did a fantastic job dredging, and that project is now finished. And I thanked her for her support. I talked to her about the bridge opening celebration and asked her to please reserve a day in August, and staff would be in touch with her because we really didn't want to do that bridge, the bridge opening without her present, because she was a big supporter and helped us get through a couple of hurdles with that. Also, we talked about additional funding that was needed if the opportunities arise for existing infrastructure and sidewalk panel replacements and other maintenance work that nobody likes to talk about but is sorely needed. We also talked about transit funding for our parking garage associated with ST3 to see if we couldn't move that all along a little bit sooner. We told her that affordable housing was our top priority and that we were going to be putting out an RFP and looking for partners to work on affordable housing. I also talked with her about Kenmore Air and Canadian border issues and some of the problems they're having there and landing lights in Lake Washington, and also a possibility of landing lights in Kenmore. And also gave her an update about ARPA, about what we were doing with cash grants to people in financial difficulties in our community, and talked about other things that we were looking to do along with public input. And that's about it.
Deputy Mayor O'Kane.
Well, it's fun coming second to last. It's an interesting place after being first for a few years. I actually like it. A couple of things. First, I want to congratulate you, Mayor Herbig. A well-deserved promotion to mayor. I want to thank you for your support over the past 2 years, and actually 3 since I ran for office. I've learned quite a lot from you, and I'm very happy for your opportunity in this role. I also want to thank, it is hard to say, Councilmember Baker for his support and mentorship over the past 2 years, and his leadership for our community. But over the past 2 years, he has really given me support and guidance that I've truly appreciated. And I'm so thankful to be on a council working with him over the past 2 years and going forward. So thank you, Mayor Baker. And I think that's it. And I also just want to say thank you for the nomination, Councilmember Srebnik and Councilmember Marshall, for your words of support. Councilmember Kugler, you are a formidable person to be nominated with, and I wouldn't have been surprised had you earned this position this evening. So it's absolutely a pleasure working with you. And Councilmember File, as we've run for office together, we've been here for 2 years as Emerge Sisters. We've really supported and lifted each other up over the past 2 years. And I am thankful to be here with you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any updates per se, but I do want to say, again, I want to reiterate just how thankful I am to all of you, to B, Councilmember Baker, for everything he has done for the city. I just don't think people realize the amount of time and blood, sweat, and tears that he has poured into making Kenmore a better place to live. It's just phenomenal, the amount of work that he's done. And his report today was one example of that, right? And I'm going to be a different style of mayor than Mayor Baker, because unlike Mayor Baker, I have a full-time job, and I'm going to be relying on many of you for help with things that maybe he would have done by himself because he had the time. I will be relying on Councilmember Baker to help us with legislative work in Olympia and in DC still, because of his relationships and the work he's put in there. And don't be surprised if you get a call from me if if I get invited to a meeting and I can't make it because of work. Don't be surprised if I call on you and say, hey, can you come and cover this for us? Because I want to try to spread that around. I want everybody to have an opportunity to get back to the city. And I look forward to working with all of you. Deputy Mayor O'Kane, congratulations. I look forward to working with you for the next 2 years. This is exciting times for all of us, and it's an exciting time for the city of Kenmore. And with that said, we are going to recess into executive session pursuant to RCW 4230-110-1, subsection I, to discuss potential litigation for approximately 20 minutes. It's 9:06, so we'll be back out here at 9:26.
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Mayor.
Of course.
Just to reiterate, the council has now adjourned to, or recessed rather, into their executive session. This is to discuss pending and potential litigation. And sometimes as the clerk, I get the question of why are they allowed to meet in a private setting? And I'm going to answer that for our audience members right now. The RCWs are very clear and they're very prescriptive in what they will allow council members to meet for and what they will not. And so there's a small handful of reasons why the council is allowed to meet essentially in private, although all of their formal decisions after deliberations are done in an open meeting. So some of those include talking about national security, talking about pending or potential litigation, discussing real estate acquisition. So these might already be familiar to you. But again, if there's action involved, that's always done in open session so that we can keep the integrity of transparency with our meetings. Welcome back, Mayor Herbig.
Yeah, we're going to extend our executive session for another 10 minutes.
Thank you. Welcome back, Council.
I'm going to give another second or two for council members O'Kane and Marshall. I'm counting correctly. Oh, wait. Oh, Councilmember O'Kane's right there. Sorry.
Yeah.
I see them. They're on their way.
Okay.
And the attorney too.
Okay, we have everything here. The last thing that we had on the agenda was council reports from Councilmember File.
Thank you. So first, I want to congratulate you on becoming mayor of Kenmore. You're going to be a wonderful serving mayor. I know our community absolutely appreciates and adores your past work and your integrity. I am really happy to say that I attended a COVID vaccination clinic at the North Shore Fire Department, where we were able to deliver more than 60 shots to arms. And there will be a pediatric clinic coming back thanks to the support of Chief Woolham. So I'm very happy about that. That's something that's really hard for our local community to get COVID vaccines for their kids. It's a long wait. And all that being said, I am really happy to wish everybody a happy new year. I know that, we have a lot of exciting things to accomplish in this new year, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you.
Okay, and with nothing further to come before the council, the Kenmore City Council is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Night.
Good evening.